Hey everyone, Retire on Dividends here. Back, third video of the day. This video is the dry series where we basically compare Defiance versus Roundhill versus YieldMax. And, we put some funds side by side that it makes sense to, and we see how they do on up days, on down days, on flat days, and see, how the funds perform. So let's get right to it. So first tab here, I have QQQY versus QDTE tab. Of course, all the way to the left, I do have the NASDAQ, so we can see what the NASDAQ does, and we have that because that's what these funds trade on. So we have 5 trading days, finally, 5 full trading days, so let's go through them. On Monday, oh my God, NASDAQ went down 2.97%, QQQY went down 2.94%, and QDTE went down a little less at 2.85%. So QDTE for the win. On Tuesday, the NASDAQ went up 1.59%. QQQY went up 1.5%. And QDTE went up 0.96%. So QQQY for the win. Wednesday, the NASDAQ went down 0.24%. QQQY went up 0.13%, but QDTE went down 0.15%. So QQQY for the win again. The next day, what is that? Thursday, NASDAQ went up 0.45%. QQQY went up 0.65%, and QDTE went up the same exact amount. However, obviously, if you put the decimals out further, QQQY had the higher number. So QQQY for the win. And then on Friday, the NASDAQ went down 0.14%, QQQY went up 0.2%, and oddly enough, QDTE did not change. So that's interesting. Okay, well, it did not move. All right, whatever, QQQY for the win. So QQQY with 4 wins versus QDTE's 1. Now, one thing you'll notice, look at QQQY's distribution, 7 cents. QDTE's 18 cents. So I'm not sure what's going on. I know I got a lot of messages asking what's going on with Defiance, and this is the first time I really, saw the numbers, and it's pretty bad. However, they beat QDTE this week, so maybe they're changing things up. Again, I don't follow their trades, but obviously their prospectus, it's kind of limited, but still, they could sell puts aggressively or less aggressively. They could do 0 DTE or 1 DTE. So maybe they're doing 0 DTE. I don't know. And the reason maybe that they won this week is there's more down days than up days. So who knows? Anyway, let's move on. All right, up next, we compare WDTE versus XDTE, and we look at the index of these, which is the S&P. On Monday, the S&P went down 1.46%. WDTE went down 1.57%. XDTE only went down 1.26%. So XDTE for the win. On Tuesday, the S&P 500 went up 0.92%. WDTE went up 0.98%. XDTE went up 0.62%. So WDTE took Tuesday. On a Wednesday, the S&P went down 0.47%. WDTE went down 0.46%. And XDTE went down 0.4%. So XDTE for the win. Thursday, S&P went up 0.53%. WDTE went up 0.56%. And where are we at? XDTE went up 0.67%. So XDTE for the win. And then Friday, down day for the S&P, it went down 0.5%. WDTE went down 0.33%. And XDTE went down 0.42%. So, WDTE, 2 wins. XDTE, 3 wins. So XDTE took it. So look at this. Another small distribution. So WDTE only paid 9 cents. XDTE paid 25 cents. Again, XDTE is a more expensive fund. It's a $50 fund, but still, usually Defiance does pay more. So I'm not exactly sure, why the smaller payment. The week prior, I believe, had a holiday in it, so maybe that's why. because I think Roundhill, maybe they do it for 2 weeks prior. But again, who really freaking cares? As long as next week picks up, right? All right. So now here's the Russell. So we compare IWMY versus RDTE, and let's see. Russell Monday went down 1.03%. IWMY went down 1.02%. RDTE went down 0.82%. So RDTE takes it. Tuesday, Russell went up 0.21%. IWMY went up 0.4%. IWMY only went up 0.15%. So, yeah, kind of a flat day. Flat day, IWMY took the win. And then another kind of flat day, the Russell went down 0.25%. So IWMY actually went down as well, but it went down 0.03%. And RDTE went down as well, but it went down a little more at 0.05%. So IWMY for the win. Thursday, okay, a decent update. It went up 1.07%. IWMY went up 0.47%. RDTE went up 1.13%. So RDTE for the win. And then on Friday, the Russell went down 0.86%. IWMY went down 0.46%. RDTE went down a little more at 0.75%. So IWMY, 3 wins versus RDTE's 2 wins. All right. Now we will compare YMAX versus YMAG. Why? Well, they're both YieldMax, and they both are a fund of funds. One holds the Magnificent 7 covered call ETFs. The other holds all of the other covered call, all of the covered call ETFs. All right, so let's get to it. Monday, YMAX went down 2.9%. YMAG went down 2.85%. Well, that sucks. That was a horrible day. Tuesday, went right back up. Tuesday, YMAX went up 2.01%, and YMAG went up 2.34%. Oh, by the way, YMAG took the first 2 days, okay? And Wednesday, YMAX went down 0.18%. YMAG went down more, 0.53%. So YMAX took that day. Thursday, YMAX went up 0.94%. YMAG went up 0.11%. So YMAX for the win. And then Friday, YMAX went down 0.66%, and YMAG went up 0.11%. So YMAG for the win. So YMAG won 3 of the 5 days. So good job, YMAG. Yeah. Let's look at the distros. YMAX paid what? 14 cents. YMAG paid 18. So YMAG even beat them on the distro. Oh, yeah. All right. So let's see what we got here. This is YBTC, which is a Roundhill crypto ETF. They do pay weekly, versus YBIT, which is a YieldMax crypto ETF, but they pay monthly. Well, they pay every 4 weeks, but I figured why not compare the two, because they both trade on IBIT. So let's see, how the two fare against each other. All right, let's look at Monday. IBIT had a rough Monday. It went down 3.4%. YBIT went down 2.9%, and YBTC went down 3.18%. So YBIT for the win. Tuesday, IBIT went down 0.16%. YBIT went up 1.62%. And YBTC went up 1.16%. So YBIT for the win again. And then on Wednesday, big up day. IBIT went up 3.06%. YBIT went up 1.43%, and YBTC went up 1.93%. So YBTC for the win. And then Thursday, IBIT went up 0.64%. YBIT captured 0.43% of that. 0.47% of that. And then YBTC captured 1.2%, almost double what IBIT did. So YBTC for the win. And then Friday, IBIT went down a lot, 3.37%. What a crappy week. YBIT went down 2.42%, and YBTC went down 3.65%. Good Lord. So YBIT with 3 wins out of the 5. So good job, YBIT. All right, now we go to the wars. First up is the yield war, where we look, okay, who paid the highest yield this week? Unfortunately, since YBIT does not pay every single week, I just basically take the prior distribution and I compare it to the declaration date, the same declaration date as these other guys each week. So YBIT, they're in the running every week. So they're in the top three. YBIT, YBTC, and YMAG are the top three. So number one is YBTC with an 87% yield, YBIT with an 80% yield, and YMAG with a 52% yield. Right behind that is YMAX with a 45% yield. And I got to be honest, everyone kind of did crappy. I mean, especially Defiance. Their yields were horrible this week. But Roundhill's, they were the typical. Nothing too exciting, but yeah. So anyway, the good yields are to the right. All right. Then we talk about the NAV war. All right. NAV war. All right. What do we got? Not really. No positives. Nothing is positive. It was a rough week. So in first place, though, RDTE, it only went down 0.34%. In second place is QQQY. It only went down 0.45%. And then in third place is IWMY. It only went down 0.64%. So, and again, if you look at the comparisons, like QQQY versus QDTE, let me zoom in. For the NAV war this week, QDTE went down more than the NASDAQ. It went down more than the NASDAQ. QQQY, it beat both the NASDAQ and QDTE by a decent amount. I mean, it still ended up down, but still. QQQY went down 0.45. QDTE went down 0.139%. All right, let's look at the S&P. The S&P for the week, it went down 0.98%. WDTE went down 0.82%, but XDTE only went down 0.79%. So XDTE beat the index and it beat WDTE. The Russell this week, it went down 0.86%, but both IWMY and RDTE beat the index. However, RDTE did beat IWMY. YMAX and YMAG, yeah, both crappy weeks, both pretty close. YMAX down 0.79, YMAG down 0.83. And then IBIT was down a lot, 3.23%. But YBIT only down 1.8. YBTC went down 2.454%. So, I mean, it was a rough week for all, but it's interesting how you see some doing better than others, which is not always the norm. So, again, there's no consistency here. It's really, really hard to track and see how things perform when there's, when things change this much. The only thing that I'm sure of is these Roundhill funds perform better on large up days, especially when it's captured on the overnights. All right, now we do the total return war, which, we kind of know the result based on prior weeks. But total return, when we compare NASDAQ versus the funds, the NASDAQ's in first, total return is 7.2%. This is, of course, as of October 4th. Keep that in mind. And this is without DRIP. This is taking the dividends as cash. QDTE total return from 10.4 is 6.2%, and QQQY is negative 0.58%. As of 10.4 for the S&P funds, the S&P is up 5.03% total return. XDTE is up 4.56%, and WDTE is up 1.49%. So XDTE is better in total return than WDTE, but not better than its index. IWMY total return 1.78%, RDTE total return 4.83%, and the Russell is up 3.38%. So RDTE beats its competitor IWMY, and it beats the index in total return. YMAX, YMAG, and MAGs. MAGs is the Magnificent 7 ETF. It just holds them. It doesn't do anything fancy. No options. It just holds it. So you're better off holding the MAGs or YMAG. And again, you would only care about total return more so if you're buying MAGs, then you don't care about income. So if you just want total return, then yes, this matters. But if you want income, you're more than likely buying YMAG anyway, because you got to get paid the income. You got to survive. You need something to pay you money, to pay your bills, or to buy you sushi every night, right? So MAGs ain't going to do that. Sure, there's probably a dividend coming out of those Magnificent 7, but it ain't much. And of course, I'm not counting it here either. But anyway, let's go. YMAX total return 12.2%. YMAG total return 11.97%, and the MAGs whooping their ass 17.68%. Up next is YBITs. YBIT, 32.79% total return. YBTC, 38.94% total return. And IBIT, 62.47% total return. Again, this is only as of October 4th, 2024. So give it time. Let's see what a full year looks like when we do get to it. All right, now we do the ALM war. What is the ALM? It's the assets under management. And why do we care? Well, it basically just shows if the funds are growing or not, in case you give a damn. And like we always say, it's kind of good to be in a fund that's growing versus just tanking. Because if you're in a fund that's tanking, there's not really going to be hope that it's going to stay alive. They're going to keep it open. So, of course, if you're in all of these funds, you kind of want to root for them to be growing. And that was the case this week, except, believe it or not, RDTE had a decrease in outstanding shares. So that's very unusual. But again, that's what it reflects. So we'll just go down the line and then we'll go from there. QQQY had an increase of 50,000 outstanding shares, a net asset change of an additional 345,000. QDTE had an additional 400,000 outstanding shares. That's a net asset change of an increase of 1.5 million. WDTE, again, this is Defiance, WDTE. They had an increase of 50,000 outstanding shares, net asset change of 1.1 million increase. XDTE, Roundhill Fund, they had an increase of 380,000 outstanding shares, a net asset change of an additional 14.4 mil. That is a big jump. That's the biggest jump of the week, actually. IWMY, they grew by an additional 100,000 outstanding shares, or a net asset change of an additional 1.8 million. RDTE, as we mentioned, had a decrease 90,000 outstanding shares. The net asset change was negative 5.3 mil. YMAX had an additional 1 million outstanding shares. Net asset change 4.3 mil. YMAG, they had an additional 75,000 outstanding shares, which actually the net asset change, believe it or not, was negative 5.6 million. And the reason for that is the actual price of the fund went down. Obviously, the net asset overall would go up. If more people are buying in, it's going to create. But, the fund itself is going down, right? Because of the Magnificent Seven going down this week. So the outstanding shares weren't enough to essentially keep the overall net assets in the positive. YBIT, an increase of 425,000 outstanding shares, or 2.9 million net asset change positive. YBTC, an additional 360,000 outstanding shares, or 13.1 mil. And by the way, I hear people always message me, can you add this? Can you add that? Guys, it has to make sense. Like, these make sense to compare. People are saying, can you add Curve? Like, what am I going to compare Curve to? Curve, what do they pay? Monthly? Right? I don't know. What do you want? Curve versus YieldMax? But, one does monthly covered calls, one does weekly. So, again, I don't know. It kind of, it would be a whole separate thing. Like this dry series, we're kind of booked up, right? Unless it makes sense really to add something else. But this is Defiance versus Roundhill versus YieldMax. If I start adding Curve, it's going to be K dry or something like that, right? It'll kind of ruin it, or dry K or whatever. But I don't know. I don't really follow Curve anyway, so I don't really. I'm sure someone will cover it. Anyway, this is just the finals. Shows the average yield, the total NAV increase. I'm just going to go over, the top ones. So YBIT, total average yield, 73%. YBTC, the crypto ones are always going to have the highest yield because crypto is very volatile, 60% yield on YBTC. YMAX is third at 54%. And then at fourth is IWMY at 49%. And then the total NAV appreciation, YBTC takes that one as well, and YBIT takes number 2. So, and then YMAX and YMAG, and then everyone else is behind. But you get the gist. So, nothing too exciting this week. Again, it was a full week of trading. It was a red week, but some surprises here and there, kind of low distributions, especially on the Defiance side. But hey, let's see what happens next week. Let me know your thoughts on these funds. Are we just buying these steady eddies? Are we, what are we thinking? Do do we really want to add more funds? Like, do we really want to do that? Or is this kind of fine how it is separated? Or, a lot of people tell me I don't care about Defiance. Like, should I drop Defiance? If I drop Defiance, then I'm just going to drop this series, right? Because what am I going to compare Roundhill to then, right? So, I don't know. You guys, I go by what you guys say and what the majority says, but we could always, change it up. And it doesn't have to be the dry series. It could be a different type of comparison, right? I don't know. Something to think about. But I do like doing this series. I do still believe in Defiance. I know they could do better, but it looks like they're changing up something. Maybe it'll help them. But, hey, time will tell. All right? As always, this is not financial advice. Oh, I didn't mention the size of them. Okay, so if I go down here, Roundhill, there are 4 funds, or their total net assets of $1.4 billion. YieldMax, there are 3 funds, $1.2 billion, and Defiance, 3 funds, $341 million. Okay, now that being said, as always, this is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor, and this video is for fun and entertainment. So hopefully you had fun. Hopefully you're entertained. If not, we will try again next week. If you enjoy this video, if you enjoy this series, please hit the like button. It does go a long way, and I do greatly appreciate it. Outside of that, I don't really have anything. I'm kind of done talking for the day. I got to do 3 videos tomorrow because it's month end. So it's, again, at the end of the month. It's a little busy for my content, but I'm trying to be consistent. I can't, I don't want to miss anything, but it's hard because I can't do stuff during the week with work. I can only do the morning video, really. Outside of that, it's hard, but I know. But yeah, so on that note, I'm done yapping. And I just wanted to say, again, thank you guys for watching. I do greatly appreciate it, and I hope you guys have a great day. All right. Later.